Fox 2's Andy Banker is live with exclusive interviews of two people risking their lives surrounded by the sick and, in two cases, the dying. Andy.
Hi, Mandy. We're back at the Frontier Health and Rehab Home in St. Charles, where more than 20 residents and workers have been infected. And sadly, at least 2 residents have died. The workers, the staff, are stretched so thin here. People are coming in from elsewhere. They are leaving their safe spaces to come to this place and help.
It's the little things, really, that really warm our hearts.
Head nurse Daphne Bollinger has been here through it all. Administrator James Dennis has come from another facility in Monette in far southwest Missouri, which has 0 cases of COVID infection, to a place with an outbreak that may be among the largest in the state.
The way I was raised was give what you have. And right now, what this facility needs is me to be here, whether it be to joke with the staff a little bit, to joke with the residents a little bit, to hold a hand.
It's really hard, Andy. These are not my family members by blood, but they're counting on me to make sure they're taken care of. And in that way, they are my family to me.
So things like handmade donated masks, plus meals, letters, cards, posters showing support, those little things she talked about mean more than anyone could know, because there is so much more on the line than anyone could know. Dennis is away from home and his 21 and 16-year-old children for at least 30 days. His wife works in health care and could face quarantine. Bollinger's husband is volunteering here. Her 18 and 20-year-old daughters lost their part-time jobs a few weeks ago and told their mom they wanted to help out. They're here too.
We've also been using them to use an iPad to go around and FaceTime residents with their families so that they have an opportunity to see their family members' faces.
The staff also faced the very real threats of getting sick themselves and having people die in their care.
I actually fed one the day before he passed away. And it was tough.
If one of us should fall ill while ministering to someone else who's hurting or in need, then that is a valid, noble cause for me to be sick, and I'm willing to deal with that.
If God is the one that placed me here, and I believe He is, then this is where He wants me to be. If something happens to me because of that, then that is part of the deal.
And they say beyond the sickness, the worst thing is they can't hug anybody. And they really need a lot of that around here, especially now. They say there are people coming from 15 facilities owned by this company as far away as Tennessee and Las Vegas. And they want to stress they follow all the protocols to the extreme when it comes to things like quarantine, isolation, social distancing, hand sanitizing. And we did that too today for these interviews. Live in St. Charles, Andy Banker, Fox 2 News.
Yeah, he says the voices of nurses he couldn't see helped pull him through. Fox 2's Andy Banker is live to show us that patient as he got to match those voices with faces today. Andy?
It was really something to see, Mandy. They had a reunion here today at SSM Health St. Joseph's Hospital in St. Charles via Zoom. And the patient, Nathan Walker, is now at a rehab facility. He was discharged from here 1 week ago today, after it looked like he might not come out alive.
There were voices of nurses that I recognized.
We hoped and prayed for you every single day, Nathan.
I was there when you first started waking up.
I was asking you to squeeze my hands.
You are a miracle. Definitely a miracle.
But to Nathan Walker, a father of 4 who lives in Colorado, it's a miracle that if he had to be so sick, it happened at SSM St. Joseph's Hospital. He was exposed while in town for his safety management job at an airport construction site. April 9th, 2 days from the end of his quarantine, he developed a cough and a fever. Not long after that, he was on a ventilator.
I remember being scared.
Much of the 19 days he was intubated are fuzzy, yet he remembers being comforted by the voices from faces hidden by PPE and a feeling that we've got this.
So our nursing staff, the team that took care of you, wanted to give you a little bit of a gift.
Today, those nurses gave him a memory book with faces to go with the voices.
It's the one that I think I took the picture of him while he was intubated. So
His sister Kimberly, who's been with him and them from a distance in Texas, is now here as he completes his rehab. They share one dispute. Who's the hero? He says them, they say him.
I didn't do much except lie there and try to die. So I don't know why they're calling me a hero.
But your story was known for all of us.
I grabbed your hand and you said, "Oh no, I remember your voice." And sorry, as soon as you said that, I had to excuse myself from the room.
We have no concept of what you're going through and what you're doing to do what you do, but you saved his life.
That's what you did. You guys did that. You saved me. Now I'll always be able to remember it. The faces, thank you very much.
As for heroes, right? They say him, he says them. We say both. He's lost 30 pounds, a lot of strength. Still, he expects to finish his rehab in this area within the next couple of weeks. And he can't wait to see his kids again, but says that may have to wait a month or more. He just doesn't want to rush that and pose any risk to them whatsoever. Live in St. Charles, Andy Banker, Fox 2 News. One of the area's top high school marching bands is now having to mask up their instruments, and it's no easy task. Saving the sound of music for one of St. Louis's most celebrated programs. Parents are making about 150 masks for all of the horns of the Lindbergh High School marching band, hand-cutting the different sizes and sewing a channel on the edges so the coverings can be cinched tight.
There.
The Lindbergh Band has played in the world-famous Tournament of Roses parade in Pasadena, California 3 times since 2005. The COVID-19 pandemic has put this year's season in jeopardy. Unacceptable to band moms like Heather Herbold, who is sewing every covering herself.
A sousaphone takes a couple of minutes, clearly because they're the biggest one, but the clarinets, those were going pretty fast.
Based off the study that came out a while back about band instruments specific, blowing air through them creates particles that get released into the air and aerosols, and they recommended that bell coverings get put on the different instrument types.
The specially selected stretchy nylon stops the aerosols but not the music. So next week, the band will meet socially distanced in the football stadium and feel like they're in high school again.
It's just classic high school experience. You know, I mean, you think of high schools, you think of sports and marching bands, and if kids can't have that part of their school year, and it's already so drastically different, trying to hold on to something that they're used to having is worth it.
20 years after a tragedy, the family of a murdered St. Louis police officer gets hit with COVID-19. But their loss goes beyond the frightening diagnosis. Fox 2's Andy Banker has a story you'll see only here on Fox 2.
This year marks the 20th anniversary of the death of St. Louis police officer Robert Stanzi, shot and killed in the line of duty in August of 2000. This year was supposed to be different for his family. There was somewhere they were supposed to be. For 2 years, they'd been planning a trip to the National Law Enforcement Officers Memorial in the nation's capital for Police Week in May of 2020. Officer Stanzi's oldest son, Will, was to ride his bike there, 250 miles from New Jersey, and meet the others.
It's like I've looked forward to it for a long time.
The loss becomes more the older they get, and I feel like they really need this at this time of their life.
Clarence James Lanier.
It's been 11 years since they were there. The officer's 3 children remember the candlelight vigil. They remember his name on the wall, and mostly just feeling connected.
It's just like a way of, he's still here, he's still watching us, and being with him.
Officer Stanzi was shot and killed in North St. Louis by a suspect who was handcuffed in his police cruiser but had a hidden handgun. He is serving a life sentence. Stanzi was 29 years old. His son Will, 16 months. His wife, Michelle, pregnant with twins, John and Holly, who went off to college last fall.
It brought up a lot of delayed grief issues, and I really reached out to the people that I have met through my COPS program.
Those COPS programs have bonded her and her kids to the families of other fallen officers through camps and activities for these 20 years. On top of everything else, Michelle, a hospital nurse, and Will both tested positive for COVID-19 in April. They were not sick, though glad about that. They feel empty. Will's ride would have raised money for those programs. No better way to honor his father.
But even thinking about the ride, you think about the new families.
It's kind of like just like a reprieve when you get to let go and be around people and remember that part of your life more.
That part of you is missing, and these people understand that in a way that nobody else really does.
Losing a loved one puts everything in perspective.
That includes COVID-19.
We will be there in 21.
Andy Banker, Fox 2 News.
Andy, so many times we've talked about the story going the other way.
Oh, Vic, and we just can't wait for everyone to see this. 18 days ago, Dorothy Steele was brought here to St. Clair Hospital from the nearby nursing home where she lives, COVID-19 positive, and her oxygen levels fading. There wasn't a lot of reason for hope.
Says, "You did it, Dorothy. We love you." She's tough.
8 months ago, they were celebrating Dorothy Steele's 90th birthday. A week ago, her only child, her son Clyde, his wife, and Dorothy's grandchildren were told she would not likely survive COVID-19.
Last Thursday, we were really worried that we were going to lose her.
Just a week ago, we were meeting with her family saying we didn't think it was going to work out for her. And they knew, and they had faith, and they said, no, she can turn around. And she did.
You better believe it. Hospital staff gave her a standing ovation on her way out. Dorothy did not speak. She didn't have to get her message across. She just kept reaching for her mouth again and again.
Yeah, blowing kisses.
She was just happy to be out of there, I guess, you know. So she knows she's getting better and everybody's thinking of her. So, you know, it's great. The doctors and the nurses did a miraculous job.
It was very scary. It was really, she came back, you know, through a battle once and then regressed and basically had to fight the battle again.
She's real happy today.
And so it is that one of the least likely of COVID-19 patients has given her family and these hospital workers a lift in the face of the unrelenting plague. That's Nurse Diane Bruntz clutching Dorothy's hand on her way out.
Oh, I can't even tell you. It makes my heart feel so good. These are the first tears of joy I've had for a while.
And here's two more joyful tears. Dorothy turns 91 in March. People may wonder about the ambulance they were putting her into. That's just her ride back to the nursing home where she lives. And hospital workers, the family, they can point to no magic medicine that turned things around so quickly for Dorothy. Just hearing the voices of her loved ones, they say, and also all the prayers that were being said for her. Live in Fenton, Andy Banker, Fox 2 News.
So great to see a happy ending like that and her blowing those kisses. Bless her heart. Well,